Hey everybody, welcome to Bit Nerd, your daily nerd on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. Hello, my name is John Polnick, along with my partner Michael D. We welcome you to the show. I am recording from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. Michael Deeb is coming to you from San Francisco in Deeb Studio. Michael Deeb, what's happening this morning?
JP, this is, occasionally we get to cover a car that, you and I just dream of. We got a special car today. I'm very excited about today's show. This is a very interesting car.
Well, let me give a quick shout out to our friends at Godden Porsche of Las Vegas, right here. If you're looking for a classic Porsche, they are your huckleberries, you like to say. You can give them a call, and they always have classic Porsches, air-cooled Porsches in inventory, and they also locate cars for people all the time, and they are great people. They're very good friends of ours.
Godden Porsche, JP, interesting fact, Godden Porsche was the very first classic partner in North America dating back to 2016.
That is
Boom.
correct.
There you go.
There you go.
Snapple fact of the day.
All right. That will be on a cap of lemonade for sure. All right. What do we do on this channel? If you're new, thanks for joining us today. What we do on this channel is we find the most interesting car from all these auction sites like Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids and stuff. And then we have a conversation about that particular car that we think is the most interesting one. What are the pros? What are the cons? What makes this specific car, not just the model, but this specific car, what makes it interesting? And it's oftentimes the cars that we choose are not necessarily the nicest car or the best car or the most expensive car. It's just what happens to be the most interesting of the day. And a lot of times we highlight cars that have issues and problems and stuff like that. And we're like going, what the heck is going on with this auction? We make predictions as to what's going to happen with that car's auction. And then at the end of the show, we go into the future and we show you the results. We will tell you, we will reconcile our predictions with what actually happens, and you can play along. It's just like The Price is Right, except that you don't win nothing. Today's car is not a POS. Today's car is about as blue chip as you get. This is a car. Deeb, we've been talking a lot about investments and the economy. People are a little worried about the future. People are a little scared. The big question we get all the time, because we do happen to cover a lot of Porsches, little hint that we're going to be talking about a Porsche. People are going, is the market falling? They're seeing all kinds of issues with all the other market classes like the stock market and crypto and all kinds of other things. But people are going, what's going on with classic cars? What's going on with classic Porsches and air-cooled Porsches? And we have been seeing some not stellar results lately. So there is evidence that things are changing. And this particular car is one that I think we're going to want to pay attention to very closely, because this is something that should be all the money. Michael Deeb, what are we talking about here today?
Yeah, JP, thank you. The 1987 Porsche 911 Targa. This car is a factory M491 option code, which is called Turbo Look. Basically, it has the turbo body and most of the turbo suspension, but still retains the 3.2-liter normally aspirated engine. In 1987, Porsche upgraded the transmission to the G50. The G50 is the most beloved and arguably the most valuable of the 3.2 Carreras. The 915 is a racing gearbox, but most of those gearboxes have been driven by guys who don't take good care of them. Thus, most of the 915 gearboxes that are in the marketplace are on 911s, grind and all that sort of thing. A good 915 can arguably be a superior box, but for just everyday driving, everybody wants the G50. But going back to the Turbo Look package, JP, this is a really rare car by the numbers. When you think that it's a Turbo Look and it's a G50 and it's a Targa, we're talking about Porsche made literally 100 for the world, and only 45 of those cars came to the United States. So this is a 1 in 45 car. The car looks to be in excellent original condition with 37,000 miles. It's out of Raleigh, North Carolina. 3 panels have been repainted according to the photos and the with the paint meter. It looks like that the hood and the passenger door and passenger rear quarter panel have had some paint work. Otherwise, the rest of the paint on the car shows well. Guards red, you know, in the secondary market, you simply can't go wrong with Guards red. It is a hugely popular color for Porsche. It is not my first choice. Being a guy that started his love affair with automobiles through Italian cars, obviously Ferrari, and then my dad bought a bunch of Fiats and Alphas and Lancias and stuff. When I see red, I think of Italian cars. So I prefer my Porsche in, thank you very much, any other color. But Guards red is an easy resale color, tan interior. The car looks to be in almost perfect original condition. Doesn't seem to be any mods, no stories, no leaks, no runs, no drips, no errors. I think this car should do well. The rub, John, comes from trying to put a value on this car today. 6 months ago, this car honestly would have gone for close to $200,000. But last week we were Porsche heavy, trying to get a glimpse of some of the cars that Porsche has been selling in the secondary market. Not Porsche, but some of the Porsches that have been transacting on the auction platforms. Some bright spots have been bringing some big money, and you and I picked like 3 or 4 Porsches last week, and none of them did that. Like, one car sold for what we thought it did, and the other 3 were like huge disappointments. So as I look at this car and I think about our most recent history trying to guess the value on Porsche cars, I have to say that trying to find the value for this car has really stumped me, because we think it should bring a ton of money because it's rare and it's in good condition. But if last week was a sign that the market is in fact softening, is this car facing sort of an uphill battle? And I think that's another reason why it's so interesting. It's always fun to look at a turbo look car, especially at Targa, because they're so rare. But it'll be really interesting to see what this car sells for, because I'm really stumped. The market is really uncertain at the moment. So JP, would you pay, not the money that this car would bring, but would you pay money for a red tan Porsche if it meant you get to drive a turbo look Targa? I bet you say
Heck
yes,
yeah. I mean, I
even though
wouldn't
I
even
know you don't like the
hesitate.
paint, yeah, nor the interior. Nobody wants tan and nobody
Well,
wants red.
I mean, look, I don't, I mean, no, that's not true. I mean, I'm with you. It's not my first choice, but red,
Uh-huh.
with a tan interior, look, this is 80s spec, right? So the great thing about this
Yeah,
car, unlike the modern freaking Porsches, like anytime you see like a
yeah,
996 or a 997, right? Dot ones and dot twos, and then all the dot one 991s, they always have, if whatever interior of Porsche it is, everything is that color. So if it's red,
right.
the dashboard's red, the steering wheel's red, the gear shift knob, just like everything's red. Or same thing with tan. If the dashboard and steering wheel and the tops of the door cards were tan in this thing, it would look terrible. But that's not what it was. In the 80s, they
Yeah,
always had black dashes and the black floor
yep,
mats and the black
yep.
trim, and the tan
Gorgeous.
is badass. It's awesome. It's like, Ferraris look like this too. This red, this is as classic Porsche as you get right here. Red,
Yeah.
guards red with a tan and the black. I mean, I absolutely love this thing. This
We
car is
we
the
could
way
we
that
could
so
say
many people wanted them back then. Yeah,
yeah, we could say this car in this colorway is iconic, right? The
it
Targa
is.
is so
Yeah.
distinctly Porsche. The wide body is so distinctly G body,
Mhm.
and red tan. I mean, this is an iconic car. I agree with
Guys
you.
our
You're
age had these on the wall, and this is what we
yeah.
dreamt of when
You're
we were in junior high and high
you're
school.
the way you're talking, you're getting me ethered up. I might
Mm.
have to raise my bid when we come to gas.
Well, and the fact that it's only there's only 100 of them. I mean, this how
Yeah,
many of any color?
45 in the country.
This is absolutely as iconic as you get. All right, so let's get to it. I mean,
All
what?
right,
How do we put a number on this thing? What do you think this thing's going to sell for, Michael Deeb? Or will it sell at
all
all?
right. So yeah, so John, it's at $80,000 on 14 bids, and it closes in a couple of days from now. Um, Again, I honestly think that this car 6 months ago would have brought $185,000 pretty easily. Um, I think today this car should be worth 130 to $140,000. I do think that in the market the car should be worth 130 $140,000. But today, at the beginning of this year, and with all the uncertainty going on, and like, still feeling the sting of those results from last week, I'm a little skeptical. So I had put 117, but I'm going to raise my bid because I do agree. I think this is about as iconic as they get. I'm gonna go $129,000 and send it to you there. You reminded me how special this car is. I knew it when I picked it, but listening to you talk about it, I'm gonna throw another 10 grand at my bid and say 129 and send it to you at that number. But I really don't know what's gonna happen. Like it'll be
What were the
interesting.
miles on this thing again? One more time.
37,000 miles, and it's in Raleigh,
Oh
North
man,
Carolina.
yeah. I mean, that's great miles too. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you're gonna go 120, 129. I'm gonna bet
yeah,
over. How did you become the bear? And I'm
yeah.
the bull here. Yeah, I'll go with
Right.
130. I'm just gonna park it right above you because I think you're right
Okay.
on. I think this
Yeah.
not long ago 150, no problem. I know these Targa wide bodies are really really collector items for people that know what they are, but I think fewer people want Targas than coupes. If this were a M491 with 37,000 miles with a G50, it'd be a different story. But there's a
A
lot
coupe. You
more of
mean a
those,
coupe?
oddly
Yeah.
enough, in the
Yeah.
coupe. Yeah, oddly
Yeah.
enough, the
Yeah.
coupes.
But they still bring more money than the cabs, John. And they
Mm,
actually, by the time you get to the G50, they made more cabs than anything else.
mm,
It's like cabs, coupes, and then Targas. So the Targas wind up being really rare with the wide body.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know. It's interesting. If it were a cab, it would actually be like $100 to $110,000 car.
yeah. I don't even
But
think it.
but as
Yeah,
a
it'd be.
Targa,
Yeah,
it should bring more money. Listen, on paper, you should win this one. If I get this one, then I would say this really is a sign that the market is softening because these cars, they're so rare, they don't come up that often. This one looks nice. It's got all the right things going for it. This car should bring your money or above.
it was definitely a red canary in a coal mine. What do you
Yeah.
guys think? Is this the car to watch? Is this going to tell us whether or not things are still okay or they're dropping out or what? Let us know what your bids in the comments below. We definitely want to get an idea of what you guys think this is worth. And let's go ahead and fire up the future machine. We're going to hop in our little spaceship that goes out into the future, and we will see you right after this. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that gonna be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles on it.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. And welcome back, everyone, to Bid Nerds. Thanks for hanging out with us. It is time for some big results. I'm sure you took the moment over the break while we were listening to that message from Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. I'm sure you took the moment to hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. If you didn't, please do so now. We love it when you guys help spread the word and make the nerd herd bigger. If you haven't done that, please do so now. All right, we are back at it. Michael Deeb, real quickly, I don't know what's going on. I mean, everyone's waiting.
I'm in,
What happened?
I'm in,
What's going on?
I'm in pain. Let's get to the
Yikes.
results. Our 1987 M491 Turbo Look Targa with 37,000 miles crushed it on Bring a Trailer. JP, I inexplicably bid just $129,000. You bid $130,000. I was trying to bid with my brain, not my heart, and our car sold for $162,000 on 47 bids. And the problem I have with that is that number totally makes sense to me. The car is super rare. You rarely see Targas. You rarely see G bodies or G50 transmission cars. And God, I don't know. It just by the numbers that number totally makes sense, and it's also low miles. This car just ticked all the right boxes, and I think it was fool's gold to think that the market on such a rare car had softened, along with maybe some of the like the underbrush stuff. So, anyways, you were smart to take the over, buddy. You were closer. Honestly, our bids don't really make a lot of sense. The number that this car sold for really does make sense to me. Are you surprised by that number? Because I'm not. I'm more surprised by my like hesitant bid than I am by the result of this auction. Congratulations to the seller. Congratulations to the buyer. Beautiful car, super iconic Porsche. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you made it easy for me. I was shocked when you said that number.
Yeah,
And I just went a little bit over. And look, it was safe. I could have gone way over on that one.
yeah,
Obviously, there was such a margin there, but you're right. I mean, look, I get it. We are seeing something of a, let's call it a correction, or I don't know if correction is quite the right word for it. What we're seeing is that some of these cars are actually dropping. The prices are correcting in cars that are not perfect. This one was perfect. This one hit all the boxes,
it
and
really
it
did.
seems like the ones that hit all the boxes, the prices are still creeping up.
Yeah,
Whereas stuff that's not perfect, stuff that's not, blue chip is creeping down or falling down for that matter. So yeah, I mean, especially a Targa, I mean, a wide body 491 with a G body or with a, we keep making the same mistake, G body
yeah,
versus
G50. Yeah,
G50
my bad.
transmission. We both do
I
it.
started it.
It's all good. No, I mean, this car is the car that you want. This is a
Yeah,
Targa wide body with the right transmission, miles, everything is right on this car, and you can actually drive it too. Yeah, any Porsche fan would want this car. So I don't know. Look, our friends over at Overcrest, Chris, and he was talking about something on his last episode about how there's such a big bubble, and look, I'm pretty bearish on this show in general. I watch a lot of, asset classes. It's not just cars, but stocks and all kinds of other stuff. And, the cars have been a bit of an anomaly. But if you have been a fan of this show, one thing you've heard me say over and over and over and over and over again, is that inflation is part of this factor. And people aren't considering that. They keep talking
yeah,
about bubbles, and, with a bubble, what you do is you have value or prices exceeding the value, the actual
yeah,
value, right? And when a bubble bursts, everything comes back down to what the actual value is. And, that's where price, demand, all that kind of stuff, the equilibrium happens after a bubble bursts. But cars like this, something this special, something there's only very
yeah,
few of them, and it, like we said, it clicks all those boxes. Cars like this, they're not making any more of them, and there are still people with money out there, and money is straight up worth less than it used to be. So
yeah,
even if there is a correction, even if there is a fallout in the price, you have to factor in the real value of dollars. So if
yeah,
if you buy something for 100 grand, and then a year later the price of that thing is now 120, but inflation has gone up 20%, has the value of that asset increased at all? The answer is no. It's a
yeah.
net zero gain, because yes,
Right.
the price is up, but that's just adjusted for inflation. Now, if the price goes up to 120 and inflation only goes up 10%, then that's a 10% net gain, right? It's
Yeah,
not that difficult a math to figure out, but people are not considering it. They're still printing trillions of dollars, even though they've stopped quantitative easing and a bunch of other things. The feds have raised interest rates, and that's definitely cooling off demand for a lot of stuff. There's still an esh ton of money in the system, which is still causing inflation. So take that with a grain of salt. We are not experts. We're not financial wizards. Do not listen to our advice, but keep it in mind that do you agree or not agree, Deeb, that folks, if they're trying to assess the value of an asset, any asset, particularly classic cars, should they be figuring inflation into that equation?
they have to be. The trouble is, it's if you don't have a background in finance, it's a little abstract and it's hard to comprehend. The other thing too is that it feels like the market is so fluid right now because we've just had this recent massive spike in interest rates. So it's hard. It feels like the dust hasn't settled, JP. So
Mm-hmm.
the comps that are coming in are so confusing, and it's hard to get an apples to apples comparison to really make sense of it, to quantify what you're saying. But yeah, it has to be taken into consideration. Everything else in your life has gone up. It's cost more money today than it did before. So why wouldn't the cars cost more money? So what's the difference between the rise in value and the rise in inflation? That's the real delta, and that's that. I think that's at the moment it's kind of a moving target. It's hard to pinpoint to say exactly what that is, which is what probably makes watching the show more compelling than listening to you and I bang on about all this stuff. Is just getting these snapshots, taking a little bit deeper dive on some of these cars. Oftentimes we review cars that are near and dear to people's hearts, so it's fun to sort of see, wow, look what's going on now in the market. And anyway, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Well, whoever got this car, they got a great car, and is that price? What do you guys think out there in the audience? Do you think this is? Do you think that the values are going to continue to go up? Do you think they're going to adjust? Do you think they're going to fall out? Let us know in the comments below. We'd sure like to get your guys' feedback, because right now, we need all the data we can get to try to predict these prices. You guys are going to see some of the episodes this week. Some of the results of some of the cars that we made predictions on last week are just unbelievable. So stick around, watch the next episode of Bid Nerds. We really do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We love doing the show, and as long as the world doesn't end, we'll keep doing it. Michael Deeb, anything to say before we get the heck out of here?
No, but I love that Targa.
Oh man, you should have had this. You'd look good in that Targa.
Get those words!